Hi, who's this? Kafir Cesar. Hi, thank you for
Hi.
joining us.
Yeah.
Guys, before we actually go on, just a few soft house rules. Um, Only myself and the two speakers should be unmuted unless a specific question is asked of the audience, and at which point I can actually unmute you. But please just do your best to keep yourself on mute so that we don't drown out our wonderful speakers. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sister Circle Chats. I know it's been a while. I haven't seen you guys. I missed you. We are joined by Edna Marie and Jasmine. I am very honored to have these two women because I feel like they are right up my alley. One being a lifestyle coach and another one being a meditation coach. So without further ado, I'd like to open up the floor to Edna Marie, who is the owner of Diamond Life Training. Did I say that right?
Yeah, actually, that's my Instagram handle, but it's Diamond Life Network LLC.
Okay,
Yeah.
take it away, Edna.
All right. Why?
Just give us an introduce Diamond Life Training to us and let us know what that's about.
Sure. Actually, I was a certified personal trainer, and I still do that. What I found for myself, so that's what Diamond Life Training is about. And it's training and coaching people to be their greatest versions. So how I do that, the way that I do that is multidimensional. So what I believe is that let me just say from my personal experience, I was trained by a trainer and was able to lose over 40 pounds, almost 50 pounds. Yes, within a year. And I worked really hard at that, added years to my life, I believe, and found that I was gaining the weight back because I was still doing the emotional sabotage things. So I was eating emotionally, still wasn't dealing with anything that was going on the inside of me. I dealt with everything, that I could see. So I changed my food for that short period of time and then gained the weight back, but I really didn't change who I was. So the habits came back because I didn't deal with the emotional things that, just emotional, spiritual, and mental things that were causing me to gain the weight. So not only working out, so I just wanted to work with clients on a bigger field, I say, looking at their whole selves. So I've kind of gotten it down to what I call a science, to look at the whole person through a deeper lens. I still train people if they just want to focus on physical. Okay, I still do that. But I also train you to transform your life. So I call it to get crystal clear about the life you have left. So if my clients are willing, or my people that are brought in are willing to take a deeper dive, I look at not only their movement, the movement being the physical piece, I look at the emotional piece, and that's looking at your food. So mood and emotional intelligence. I have you do some exercises that really looks at that and takes a deep dive. Then I also look at mindfulness. So I'm glad that there's a mindfulness coach on here, just being present. A lot of times we'll just eat a bag of potato chips and get to the bottom and it's like, why did I just do that? And not really figure out, maybe and I'm finding this now because I've taken a deep dive with myself to find that it is because I'm angry or I'm stressed out. So yes, I want that crunch, but I also want that sodium. So it's a little deeper dive. I also look at music and its impact to raise your vibration. So allowing, even in mindfulness, in a mindfulness meditation, to have certain music. And music is, I will say, the soundtrack of our lives. We can all think of when we were a child, or even as our teenage years, who was the hottest groups and who were the biggest bands out. And it brings a smile to your face when you think about, okay, yeah, that was the jam. So I've tied all of those things in. And the last piece, one of the biggest pieces has been money. Money can affect whether you believe that you have the power to eat better, to live, if you're stressed about your living situation. And that was one of my biggest hurdles, I would say, to date, is that I have been married a couple of times. I have 2 children that are grown, and I've had to juggle a lot of things. Like I told you, I had a trainer, but I was working and I changed careers. There was just a lot of things going on. And then when the dust settled, I was just like, okay, now who am I doing this for? Who am I on this journey for? I'm on this journey for me. And what started what evoked my journey to even begin is that I was taking care of my parents. And that I would say I'm in the sandwich generation, where I was born in the 60s and my parents were older when they had me. So I had to take care of them and raise my children at the same time. And I saw my family doing some of the same habits. Everybody can relate to this movie, the movie Soul Food, and all the food that's on the table. And Big Mama, just like my mother, prepared those meals on Sundays and the holidays, and chitlins and greens with hog moss and all of that stuff. Okay, and then she had diabetes. She had congestive heart failure. My dad had dementia and had a stroke, and he also had diabetes. My sister, who's younger than me, and my brother, who's older than me, also have diabetes. When my brothers, my mother and my father died, they lived a long life. They were in their 80s. They died about 9 months apart. Then my brother-in-law, who was 45, passed away with heart complications. And I said, no, I can't keep playing with my health. I'm blessed to not have any long-term medications. And I'm just on a journey to not only help myself, but allow other people to go on this evolution with me. And that's what I say is my purpose. And I take a deeper dive with nutrition and mood and emotional intelligence so that we can lose the weight and we can heal. So it's about moving from coping to healing. So I know it was a lot.
It wasn't. It was, it was very very necessary to hear. I think all of us, whether we are from, the South or the Caribbean, we have a relationship with food. And a lot of us don't identify what the relationship is. Some of us don't have that issue, right? The eating to feel better. But I'm somebody who definitely has that. If I'm stressed out, I can definitely do a lot of emotional eating. And it's not a healthy relationship I think I have with food. I try to formulate a healthy relationship now. So I definitely appreciate what you're doing. And I think it's really important. And I'm thankful that you used your experience with your life and within yourself too, to kind of say, hey, I want to bring this back to the collective. My question would be, because you kind of covered the first question, which is what kind of got you started. What are the tools that you use to help you not go that route?
Okay.
Like, let's say you're going through a very stressful period in your life. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of say, hey, this is what I'm going to implement to kind of keep myself away from my unhealthy habits, if you will?
Sure. That's those I kind of identify those as 5 M's. So it's movement. So I get up and start moving, walking. Turn on some music, something that lifts your mood. Then I just check in. I do some mindfulness. I also do mindfulness meditations. I have some that are kind of my go-tos. And then I have some that are pre-recorded that where there's someone else leading it and then I do it. You can find quite a few of them on YouTube. So there's some that I go to that are just gonna take me there, that are depending on what, if I'm sad, upset, stressed out. But what I've done for a practice though every day is starting with mindfulness and prayer as a practice. And then I do a gratitude journal. So those are my go-tos. I'm not saying that I do them every single day, but those are my go-tos. And then I try to get outside. This is another tool I use. I get outside. Mother Nature is with us wherever we are, and as well as our breath. Our breath is the one thing that we have. So I concentrate on whether I'm taking deep breaths or shallow breaths. If I can get outside, I ground. I put my feet in the grass. Even if I can't take my shoes off, I go stand in the grass, go lean on a tree, hug a tree, and listen for birds chirping, something that's real, not. I live in the Midwest, so it's not. I don't get to hear the ocean. That would be my major grounding thing. If I could hear the water. So water, the showers are great for that, as well as baths. Water, I would say, is my element of the elements that are there. Even though I'm a fire sign, I love water, and I get downloads from spirit in the water. So a lot of times I'll take a shower. But if I'm at work, I would say my breath is the first thing I go to. So that helps.
Thank you for sharing those tools. Those tools also resonate with me. I use everything that you mentioned, so they are more than helpful. And I am also someone who loves water. All of the meditations that I tend to go to for YouTube tend to be the large bodies of water. I like the sound. It soothes me. So thank you for sharing that. I will get back to you, Edna. I'd like to introduce Jasmine as our next speaker. Well, Jasmine's going to be leading us with a guided meditation. So she's a meditation coach, y'all. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jasmine. And please take it away with the guided meditation.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
No problem.
All right. So Edna was speaking our language, right? She kind of did a good segue into what I'll be doing now. So what I'll do is lead us in a guided meditation, just for something very quick, something very brief, but allow us to kind of get in the moment, kind of speaking to what Edna was saying, for us to take that breath, be still, and just be receptive to everything that we'll hear this afternoon while we're together. So if you will, just get comfortable in your seat. I always say, if you're sitting in a chair, obviously ideal would be on the floor on a seated cushion, or even on your bed, you can lay down. But if you're sitting in your chair, if you just scoot to the front of your chair and not be balanced by your back, so you're actually supporting your own weight, and then level out your butt a little bit so that you're very even on both sides. And then just roll your shoulders a bit so that you get very comfortable where we are, and just kind of release some of that anxiety, anxiousness, whatever you're feeling, whatever you've been toting around for today. Just let that get on, work down out. All right, now just find stillness. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, go ahead and do that. If not, just look away from the screen so that you're not paying attention to anything else and you can focus on yourself. And collectively, let's just take a deep breath in through our nose. And I'll count us out. 1, 2, 3. And exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. One more time together. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. And with your focus on your breath, continue on your own and allow yourself to breathe naturally if you care to, or continue that breath pattern in through your nose for 3 and out through your nose for 3 for the next moment. And during meditation, always remember that the goal is just to be still. Allow your thoughts just to go by. Whatever it is that's on your mind, let it be. But focus on your breath and be here in this moment to receive whatever is the message that we'll be bringing you today. As you continue to focus on your breath, consider these words from Morgan Harper Nichols. You are worth the quiet moment. You are worth the deeper breaths. And you are worth the time it takes to slow down, be still, and rest. Together, let's take one last breath in through our nose. And as you exhale, let it come out of your mouth with a loud. All right, go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you, guys.
That was great, Jasmine. Oh, wow. And I had so much extra anxiety with like getting the sister circle started. So you definitely gave me like a nice little reset. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And speaking of perfect segues, this would be a perfect segue. What made you go into meditation coaching? Like, how'd you get started with that?
Yeah, sure. So I'll share a little bit of my story. I'll be vulnerable. I shared with Dominique how I kind of started on my path and going towards yoga and everything that's happened to me. So a few years ago now, almost 3 years to be exact, I lost my daughter. I'm a preeclampsia survivor, and she was 33 weeks, and we lost her. And I attribute that to not being still, to being very stressed out, but also to being the medical practitioners I was under their care, who did not pay attention to my symptoms, unfortunately. So through all that, obviously, you can imagine I was just devastated, lots of trauma. So trying to figure out ways to get back to a well-being state and just get healthy. So Edna Maria, you definitely spoke to a lot of things that I had to do emotionally. I had to deal with all those things. Also being a preeclampsia survivor, I had to deal with high blood pressure. So to get myself back to a good state healthy, I had to figure out, okay, what can I do that doesn't mean medication? Because prior to being pregnant, I wasn't on medication. I didn't have high blood pressure. So I was like, okay, I don't want this to be, the rest of my life. I want to be able to get back to a healthy state. But through that, I really did have to check in with myself and say, okay, what was it that got me to that point where I, suffered from high blood pressure, preeclampsia, et cetera. And I just thought back and I was like, you know what? I was doing too much. So I shared with Dominique, I always say I retired my cape. I'm no longer touting that I'm a strong Black woman. I'm an independent Black woman, all those things that we like to say and wear as a badge of honor, because I realized that it definitely weakened me. It made me to the point where I was just going. And I have now a 9-year-old daughter. And obviously my first pregnancy it went well. I had no problems. The second pregnancy with a child, working full time, all those types of things, I hadn't realized I couldn't do it all. That my husband's always like, why, you have a whole husband here, why don't you give me some things? I'm like, no, I got it. I always used to say that. And I stopped when I got out of the hospital. I was like, you know what? No, like I really do have to slow down. I was working the Friday up until we lost the baby and on a call and had headaches and my vision started blurring. And none of that even was a signal to me like, hey, maybe something's wrong. Stop, slow down, go do something else. These clients can wait. Like it's not that important. So through all that, I was able to return to my health and get everything under control. I'm happy to say that with a change in my diet, exercise, I was able to get off the medication for high blood pressure. But during all that, I also realized that emotionally, I was just wrecked. Like I was like, okay, this can't be life. Like I can't be just, depressed and have severe anxiety, etc. So my mom actually reminded me, she's like, you used to do yoga quite a bit. Like, I think you should go find a yoga class. I shared recently that I was looking for a yoga instructor locally. And, this is just divine intervention. I actually found someone, my daughter that we lost, her name was Callie. And when I was looking through the yoga studios, the yoga teachers, I saw someone's bio, another Black woman who lost her daughter whose name was Callie. And I was like, oh, okay, this is who I need to talk to. So I went to that yoga class. And afterwards, I spoke with her. We shared, tears, laughter, all of our experiences. And I needed that. But from that moment on, I was like, okay, this was like a sign, like this is where you need to be and this is what you need to be doing. So I started yoga, but I realized that it wasn't necessarily the poses that had me, very intrigued and interested as it used to. It was the last pose, which is Savasana, when you're laying down and you're still and just being quiet. And I realized I was very attracted to that. And I had did meditation in the past, but I returned to that and I was like, okay, this is what I need. And how I started as a meditation coach, I realized that when I introduced that to other Black women, they weren't as interested and a little bit turned off from the concept of meditation and yoga in general, because some people have the thought that it's of a certain religion. And if you're a Christian, you can't do meditation, or you shouldn't do meditation, or you shouldn't do yoga. Because when I realized, I took a step back, I was like, well, why would you think that? I realized that there's not a lot of us in those rooms, and it's a lot of people of other cultures, of other religions. So it is a little off-putting for some people to go into that space and feel welcomed. So I took that and was like, you know what? I can help other people. Maybe if I am guiding it, maybe people will feel comfortable and feel okay with it when I say, hey, I'm a Christian, I still pray. But that other side of that conversation is meditation. It's when you're sitting and you're listening and you're, like Edna said, you're downloading, you're getting that sign back from God. You have to sit and be still. So, praying, I always say, is there a conversation to God, and meditation is what you're hearing back in return. So I started my company just to be able to get people awareness of, hey, we don't have to do everything. We can sit down, we can be still, and we should very much so pay attention to our wellness. And that will help with us be overall healthy humans, and it will allow us to show up for the people in our lives, because a lot of times we're always doing everything for everyone, but we're not doing enough for ourselves. And being able to just sit still and be very calm, it'll allow us to be that better person. Because I can't say that none of us will sit here and turn around and be like, I'm not helping everybody, because that's just the reality of it, is we probably will help everybody, but we can help everybody even more if we are everything that we need for ourselves first.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for sharing. Interestingly enough, you bring up something that kind of delayed my process of getting started with meditation, because I also heard from several family members like, oh, like meditation and yoga, we don't do stuff like that, and that's like, what are you trying to channel? And, it's like void of any real connection of what it really is. It's just stillness. The same thing that, as a Christian, if you advocate prayer, you're advocating stillness. It's the same thing. The concept, just to find a way to activate, or not activate, but to arrive at stillness, right? I don't think as Black people, we get taught enough of wellness for ourselves. And you're right, because all of the meditation classes that I've ever attended, I was probably one out of like a sea of people. And I never let that discourage me, but it always made me stop to think, like, what are we doing? There was this one yoga class. I live in Brooklyn, and they the place that was doing the yoga classes had to say in their description, brown and Black people are welcome. What? Now in their defense, I think they were just kind of letting us know, you can come, don't feel discouraged, right? But it's like the fact that needs to be said. Like, it's like, because a lot of people do think that yoga is, a white person thing, and meditation is, that's what white people do. So what do we do? Like, praying, yes, that's a tool, but there are so many other tools, and we need those tools because, like Edna referenced to earlier, emotional eating and all the other self-sabotaging ways are not helping us as a collective, and they don't help us with our mental health. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I thank you for being someone who used their story to heal the collective and to bring about more awareness. I'm very thankful for that. Before I go any further with talking to Jasmine and Edna, I'd like to encourage the circle. If you want to, this is not a forced thing. If you want to keep in touch with our speakers, please just drop your information in the chat box. And speakers, please drop your Instagram, all of your social media handles in the chat box so that people can know how to get in contact with you if they, want to get a life coach or get a meditation coach. So please feel free at this point now to put your information in the chat right there. Just drop it. So thank you guys. Actually, I also want to open up the circle to ask any questions of our speakers if you have any. Feel free to unmute yourself and join in with a question or a comment or your own personal experience before we move forward. Any takers? Any questions?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is
Hi.
Edna. How's everyone? I want to thank you first again. I put it in the chat for you everything that you shared, Edna, and as well as Jasmine. And it's true what you were saying, Jasmine. A lot of people, when it comes to Black and Brown, we stay everything away from mental health. No, we don't talk about those things. We don't feel that we need it. We try to be the ones that don't talk, get this out, and then we hold all this on our shoulders. So a lot of the things, like, I think it's, like I said, I'm from the era of the 60s, born in 50 parents. So it's like, what do you do when you see what's going on now and you try to make sure people don't think of it as, oh, it's only about that group. How do you continue to move your movement to say, okay, when it comes down to meditation, how do you keep people informed? Do you have a way, like on your websites or anything, as well as Edna? With the diamond, I was looking at, we have diamond life training. I'm like, yeah, is it something that what you do? How do you move that on with people so we can get the awareness out there?
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. So like I said, when I realized that it was something of people kind of a blockage that people were taking, like, okay, everyone else doesn't look like me. So actually just putting it out there, but putting it out there in a way that's relatable. So for instance, yoga and meditation and anything, if you say those words, there are certain keywords that people use when they're talking about yoga. They'll talk about poses, and they'll talk about them in Sanskrit, which is the yogic terms for it. But making it more relatable, like it really truly is, like Anna said, it really is just taking a pause, just taking a break, doing some of those things and putting out the tools and that people can use and the techniques that people can use that they're not even realizing that they're doing anyways, but just advocating for that and making sure that I put out articles and speak to people as I talk to anyone, and of the benefits of it and how to do it. So the tools and the techniques that you can do in your everyday life, even if it's not going into a classroom because you may not feel comfortable, but if it is truly like you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, just literally take a break. On Fridays on my IG page, I just put out a couple of images. It's just literally like pause, take a breath, inhale, exhale, and literally just to remind yourself, because sometimes we do so much that we do forget just simply to take that break. So making sure that I advocate for that and speaking to other people and, letting the kind of the word get out. So just starting naturally in my close circle and just, speaking about it and then getting that out so that, like you said, it is something that we don't talk about often enough in enough of our circles. So just really getting that word out so that people are comfortable with it and they can relate to it, but not making it so much that it's just, okay, these are certain keywords that people will just automatically close their selves off to. Edna, how about you?
Yes, Jasmine, I do the same thing, and I kind of have my life out there on my Instagram. I'm a curvy girl too, and I've done yoga Not a lot of you usually see skinny people doing those things. And so I will put my own, stuff, I expose the curves. I'll say that. I've done, even though I'm curvy, so this has kind of been my thing. It's like, I'm gonna just show you that it's doable. If I can do it, you can do it. I have done 2 marathons. In 2018, I tried to do them before I turned 50. I'm 53 now, and I did them in my year of 50. And so in that, what I've done is just say, okay, if I can do it, you can do it. And if I did this, then you can get out here and get your life. So I'll post my successes. I'll post my challenges. I go live. I do some posts like Annette does with breathing. I've posted pictures of my feet in the grass, grounding. I have also posted just other people that, and I'm sure, Jasmine, I'll connect with you. CalmBlackWoman, that's straight and to the point. But I'm also Christian too. So prayer and praise and worship works for me too, to a point. And then I'm still like, ooh, I needed something else. I needed essential oils. I needed yoga and stretching, especially out here, in my 40s, trying to, lose this weight. It wasn't getting it. My Christian walk wasn't getting it for me with my anxiety and some of the things that, I just wasn't dealing with. I even had them pray for me, and they supposedly taking this, the weights off of you, and they give you all the scriptures. I've memorized the scriptures, and I'm like, I'm still, this ain't enough, y'all. So, just taking the time, this is what I've done, is taking the time to tell people my story, to be transparent with folks that, this is not easy. And now that I've done a marathon, I say, and it's one of the quotes I say, life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We have to, every day that we get an opportunity to get up, we'll take that inhale and exhale. We're still here, and we have some work to do. So that's kind of, what I do. And I really have changed the narrative at our family functions. I'll bring salad. I'll bring grilled chicken, I will bring the healthier thing. Oh gosh, she bringing that. Yes, yes. We cannot continue to eat the same things and expect to do differently.
Or eat it in moderation. Eat it in moderation.
Absolutely. I used to be very fanatic, and right now I'm definitely on the moderation tip. But it's, I just said, Mom and Dad just passed away. Why are we still doing this? I would get raw too. But yes, moderation is key, because I don't know. To me, I just see us as, as a people, we're just putting a blind eye to some things. And, so I can go there, but I have backed off a lot. I will go straight for the jugular at times, but I've backed off because I realize that it's a deeper thing than just, choosing the food, because some of that is programmed in us from slavery, that
there's a lot of programming, and I'm happy that you said that. Not to cut you off. There's a few things that I wanted to, everything that you and Jasmine said, all very important things. And I'm happy that's how you get the information out. But I wanted to tap into the fact that you said, prayer sometimes isn't enough. And sometimes I'll have people go, oh, clutch their pearls. Prayer is not enough. No, it's not. What do you want me to tell you? I only can explain what I'm feeling. And if after I'm praying, I'm still feeling a certain type of way, what do I do? Well, pray some more. No, I want something else. I want something tangible. So the grounding, the saying affirmations, speaking things over myself, speaking favor on myself, all of these things are extra tools. Why not? Why not have them? They're actually gifts from God, right? So I'm happy that you said that. that sometimes prayer isn't enough. And that's okay to say that. I think we're too afraid to say that sometimes that isn't enough. Not that it can't be enough, but in this moment right now, the ish that I'm going through is a lot deeper than me just kind of getting a sense of peace. You understand what I mean? So I see you understand what I'm saying, Edna. So I guess I drove my point in. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the programming. Listen, we are in a society that everything is programming. And I think until we realize to unplug so that we can know what it is that they're trying to feed us and who's they. I'm not talking about conspiracy, although parts of it may be conspiracy, right? But there's programming. It's in your commercials. It's in the things that you listen to, the stuff that you watch. Watch certain commercials for certain programming and then watch certain commercials for other programming, right? Why is it that I go on BET and then it's Popeyes, but then if I go on another channel, it's something else? We're not asking ourselves enough questions. We're just kind of allowing the status quo to be the status quo. And that's why I'm happy for, although the healers got to go through it a lot worse than others, the healers got to be the ones who go through anxiety and depression. The healers got to be the ones who get by life, right? But when we rise, we come with gifts, our gifts. So I thank you for talking about that, because the mission is to constantly put the information out there. Even if people are acting like they're not listening, you just keep putting the information out there to bring about awareness and to also normalize talking about mental health, because our community shies away from that too much. It's still taboo to say that I have depression. It's still taboo to say that I have anxiety. Everybody has it, but it's like almost like you have to be afraid to say, yeah, I have it, because people will be like, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's okay. But I go through it sometimes. That's just part of life. Let's normalize having these conversations so that other people who are less comfortable can seek the help, and not suffer in silence. So I'm getting off the soapbox. I had to just kind of chime in with that. Any other questions, guys, out there? I see something in here. God certainly wants us to help ourselves. Prayer is wonderful and probably the best tool if you are a believer, but if you're trying to get healthy, prayer, if you have to be proactive and so. Yes, Emmy, I agree with you. Your holistic and spiritual foundation is so important. Thank you so much for saying that, Stephanie. Thank you. I appreciate all the comments. Guys, don't forget, if you want to keep in touch with our speakers, whether it be Jasmine or Edna, both, please, their information is in the chat. Also, please drop your information if you want to. I'm not forcing anybody to do that. I respect your privacy. But if you want to network with everybody in the circle, please feel free. And questions? Any questions left before I move forward? Anybody? No? Okay. So I wanted to do something a little bit more fun, and I will continue speaking to the speakers, but as a bit of a midpoint icebreaker, I'd like to do a affirmation chant with you guys, if you will entertain me. They're very short affirmations, but I do believe that your word is your wand, and everything that you speak over yourself, over your life, over your circumstances, it's physical. Your thoughts are also physical. So, whatever you don't want to materialize, don't go around saying it, because it can happen. It will happen. But so if you guys will just join me, you do not have to close your eyes. Just repeat after me. And I will say it twice so we don't take up too much time. And you don't have to take yourself off of mute. Just so if you want to, you can, but you don't have to. I bask in my own greatness. I bask in my own greatness.
I bask in my own greatness.
I feel really good about who I am.
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 My thoughts and words are powerful.
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 I am surrounded by answered prayers. I am surrounded by answered prayers. Last one. I am faithfully committed to gratitude. I am faithfully committed to gratitude. So, all of these affirmations, a bunch of others, are really good to counter and combat some of these stressors, and they're just great tools. It's always good to speak favor on yourself. Sometimes the self-talk can be very discouraging to getting the things that we need to get done. So please practice saying affirmations, write your own. They're really good tools. I really wanted us to make this Sister Circle be one of a very specific focus of mental wellness and being mentally wealthy. So I want to now ask Jasmine and Edna, if you don't mind sharing just one of your favorite affirmations to say. You can share two if you want. I'll start with Jasmine. What's your favorite affirmation?
So lately, my favorite, because they change, right, depending on what I'm going through. But lately, it's been I trust myself to make the right decisions.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. I think I'm going to steal that one from you. Edna, what about you? What's your favorite affirmation?
You see me looking up because I'm in my bedroom and my room is like the war room. So I have like Post-it notes off the wall. So I'm looking at the one at the top. Free your mind and everything will follow. Free your mind and everything will follow. That's one I use. And Isaiah 41:10 is a big one for me too. I can't even quote it, but I know that I know what it is. But it's about anxiety, and I do suffer from anxiety a lot, and is worrying about the future. So knowing that God is my rock, that's what Isaiah 41:10 is tied to that. So I have a big poster with scriptures, I am scriptures. So first one, and I'll stop there, is I'm alive with Christ. Ephesians 2:5. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I do a lot of Bible verses, but I also get to, like I said, the one that I said first is free your mind and everything will follow. So I have quite a few that are my go-tos every day because I'll be in my head.
Yeah. Absolutely. I found Isaiah 41:10. So it's and forgive me if you are not a believer. I'm not trying to offend you. Just using it as a direct quote for those who do believe and might be able to be fed from this. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. I also am someone who uses scriptures. I just kind of like remix them so that they could be affirmations. So like I'll draw certain aspects and just use the part that I need and just, affirm life over myself. This is really good. Ladies, I would like for you to give the circle a bit of advice, maybe a bit of takeaway from a moment where you were, okay, a moment in 2020 where everything was just full of chaos and despair, and we didn't know how we were going to move forward. What was one thing that you did that, if you could tell the circle, that helped you? What was the one thing that you did that kind of helped you propel the funky days of constantly being in quarantine and lockdown and not seeing family, and just not knowing what's next, especially for people who suffer anxiety, needing to know what's next, right? What would be one thing that you can say you did and that you would tell people to also do, as a good method of just feeling better, for lack of a better way of saying it? I think I started with Jasmine last, so Edna, please go ahead.
I was counting on that. Let's see. I can remember one really, really, really bad day. And I had to continue to work from home at that time, like most people did, but and my adult children are back in my tiny 2-bedroom apartment. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I went outside and sat in the grass, and just emoted, just cried. It was too much. Whatever I was dealing with that day, it was too much to just stand in it. I just sat and I just let myself cry, just let myself release. Mm-hmm. I was just like, okay, the world is moving too fast, or mm-hmm. whatever was going on. I had to just like, I'm just here. Okay, Mama Earth, I'm here. I need to just like, so what, the cars are going by. I was just boohoo crying. Yeah. I've done that also in the tub, and when the water is going, and stay till the water is all the way out too, and let it go down the drain and kind of release that way. So those were things I did to release.
Water is so healing. I don't think many people realize the healing agent, whether it's to drink it or to take a shower, whenever you feel funky energy. I guess that's the whole purpose of baptism, right? It really is a good way to reset, or be by a body of water. So yes, I love it. Jasmine, do you have a bit of advice that you would give just based off of what it is that Edna said and what I asked?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I didn't mention, after we lost our little girl, I've had my rainbow baby since. So he was born the first day of 2020. So obviously 2020 was an amazing year still, but amidst of all the chaos, we also had a newborn at home. So obviously I had lots of days where I was just like, oh my goodness, this is too much. Yeah. So I went back to work right as the pandemic happened. So I had my 9-year-old at home doing virtual learning, my infant at the time, and I was working from home, and my husband was at home. So lots of things going on. And the one thing that I just had to remind myself was that we were all going through it together here in the house, in the world, at work. And the only thing I just repeated to myself was grace. Have grace for myself, have grace for everyone around me, have grace for my children, because sometimes it did get a little tense for everyone, right? Like, it was just like, okay, you're not doing what I need you to do, and I'm not doing what you need me to do. And the people at work, everyone is, kids are at home, and, all around. So it was just literally just taking that moment and saying, you know what, it's okay. Like, we're all going through this together. I think one of the things I noticed about a number of my friends was that they were still trying to operate as normal. Even if they were on a Zoom meeting, they were like, okay, well, I'm just going to act like my kids aren't screaming in the background. Everyone's kids are screaming in the background. Have grace for yourself. Have grace for those babies who are trying to, be okay at home. Have grace for everybody. Like, don't ignore it. I think there's a really funny commercial out right now where there's a lady and she's on her Zoom call and her son is in the background.
Yeah.
And she's like moving her coffee cup to act like he's there. And it's just like, we're all going through it together. Like, just take a step back, take a break, and be like, you know what? It's okay. Everyone's going through it. So that's like my best advice. The other thing I did start implementing was, when the days got really bad, I didn't have to go out and cry, but I definitely think that I would have had, that same experience. Just go out in the grass and let it out, go in the tub, let it out. But I would do dance parties with my kids where we would go in front of the TV, turn on YouTube, turn on some music, and literally just for like however long it took for us all to just get it out of our systems and dance and sing, and just everything after that just felt like, okay, good reset. Like we're all good now. We all got all that anxious energy out and just keep it moving. So I think that would be definitely my top two, is have grace for sure, if nothing else.
Yes.
If all else fails, dance.
Yes. If all else fails, dance.
Jasmine, I forgot about that. Yes. And then grace and mercy. I'm a teacher, an educator, and I went back to school in the fall, and I forgot about the dance part. We started, my kids and I were doing TikToks, and I was horrible at it. But grace and mercy, that I wouldn't have made it without that. Just allowing, having to monitor kids and parents, ups and downs too, going back to school. Grace and mercy. I was like, we've never been an educator during a pandemic. This is new for all of us, mom and dad. And I just happened to be at a Catholic school too. So I was able to say that and they heard it. So it was good. All right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Of course. I love your sharing. Grace, mercy for yourself, so that you can allow yourself to have it for others, and a good cry, are all things that I too would advocate, because I know I did a whole bunch of crying this past year, and I did a lot of forgiveness for me, because there was a lot of days where I had to just be like, you're doing your best and that is enough. So I think that's one thing I would kind of add to the two things that you guys mentioned, or the couple of things that you guys mentioned. Being okay with your best, which is with grace, but just knowing and acknowledging that this is your best and it's enough. So guys, I think we're about to wrap up. I do want to open the floor to our circle. If you guys want to unmute yourself at this point and get in on the conversation. I don't have any specific questions, just anything that you want to add about the topic at hand, which is meditation and mental wellness, and anything that you want to chime in. Any takers? Any takers? No? Okay, guys.
So here we go.
Okay, yes.
2020, the beginning when it started, the pandemic, and we started working from home, I thought I was watching a bad movie. It felt like March and April. And then one thing that happened, I watched that movie Contagion with Gwyneth Paltrow, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to do this. We're going to all these things were going on. It was similar to that movie. And then I had to take that out of my life because I was ready to put things up against the windows and walls. None in this house. If everybody come in, he put those clothes in the garbage. It was crazy. But then I had to get to a point where, that's why I say we started a family Zoom every second Sunday, because the telephone calling was like, you couldn't do that all the time. You had to see people. Calm down, because I was like, yo, this isn't happening. This is a bad movie. This is Godzilla.
And that said she was trying to put stuff. Listen, and if you only knew the type of stuff that I was going, I literally would. So here's a little. I'll share this. Anytime I had to go out, I was afraid to breathe, because it's not. Okay, so you're gonna get COVID by breathing. I just really thought, like, a lot of the conspiracy theories that were being, put out there, I really did think that they put the virus into the air. Don't ask me why. That's what anxiety will do to you. So I would go out there and literally just kind of take sneak breaths and then hold my breath until wherever it is that I had to go. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm like, I don't want to breathe in whatever it is that they're doing, because like they're trying to kill us. Like, I could laugh about it now. And I'm thankful for Annette giving that story, because that's what kind of puts some humor to it. But I wasn't laughing at that time. I really wasn't. Exactly. Like, in my mind, I would be like, oh my God, I just caught something, because I don't know, whatever. And no shame over here, because, we all went through it. But that was just my experience. And I don't know, but we're here, and like Edna said, we're able to take a breath, and we were able to get up and have this circle. This is one of the best circles I feel like I've done. I had two amazing speakers who resonated with all of the things that I advocate on my own platform, and I feel fed. I feel full. Edna, Jasmine, thank you, a million thank yous. I can't say thank you enough. Please, guys, check them out on Instagram. Check them out on whatever social media they check. I or put in the chat. I follow them.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Dominique. Emmy has her hand up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
So it's okay.
Yes.
I don't see the option to raise the hand, so I just.
No, I'm sorry. I can't see you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to build on what Annette said about the pandemic, and then both Edna and Jasmine just reminding me of the importance of meditation. I used to meditate before, and I must say I haven't done it in a while. And the whole madness with the pandemic, the first 2 weeks, I lost 11 pounds, which was probably good for me, but I lost 11 pounds without trying to. I was stressed out. We were getting phone calls everywhere. I live in Massachusetts, but have a lot of family in New York, and we were hearing about people dying left and right, even though they weren't close. They were people we knew, and they were dying left and right. So it was, and I couldn't stop watching the news. And then I was working full time from home. So everything did feel crazy. And I must say, I still do a little bit of craziness now, because 2 weeks ago was the first time I actually ate at a restaurant, and I was outdoors, and I brought my own wipes. So every time they brought up the glass, I wiped the glass, and every time, then I asked for hot water to soak the utensils. And but I was reminded I love this sister circle, and it was reminding me of the importance of meditation and water. And that's what I used during that time to help me calm myself down. I was like, okay, nothing's within my control. We're all going through this. No one knows what anything is. It's scary. Okay, but whatever. I just have to take it day by day. And so I started to meditate, and I used a lot of the YouTube meditation guidance stuff that had the water so it really helped me. And I did it at a time that usually when I went to bed, because I do suffer from anxiety from time to time. And it's usually at the end of the day that I get the most anxious, when I'm laying down in bed and I start thinking about everything. So I would do meditation at that time, and it was really helpful. So I hope you do another sister circle with the same two women here. And
if they want to, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Jasmine. Thank you, Chery.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you for sharing your experience with dining out and your pandemic experience. Thank you for your transparency. I would love to have Edna and Jasmine do a part 2. We just swag it out and make it another, more interesting, or not more interesting, but a more in-depth of meditation and life coaching, and to go deeper so that we could give the information that's necessary. Thank you, Emmy. Is there anybody else that wants to get in there and add something?
Peace and blessings. Thank you so much. Circle. I will say that meditation is very key in allowing yourself to slow down and be still and wait for what your next move should be. So I will tag on to the rest of the ladies and say that meditation has helped me during this pandemic. And ironically, I used to meditate a long time ago and kind of lost interest in it. So what I ended up doing when the pandemic started was I went on live every day at noon and meditated. And
nice.
It helped me immensely. And it helped so many other people. I have so many family, friends, and people I don't know responding to me, letting me know that I helped them or just reminding them to grab that tool again and use that to help them deal with practically anything. Because breath work and meditation, prayer, it helps me immensely day to day. Like if I don't do it, I just do it.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. What's so beautiful is having a collective, like a group meditation session. So I wish I had known. I would have joined your IG because like there's something so therapeutic about meditating with a group of people, that it just creates an immense shift within you, because I don't know, I guess the energies are aligned and you're just feeling each other vibrating, and it's just so therapeutic. And thank you for doing that, and I hope you continue to do it, and I'll definitely join in definitely, because I love, that was one thing I missed. I used to do meditations on the Lower East Side. I would literally leave work and go to like a lunchtime meditation. Wouldn't take lunch. I'd get lunch back, like running back into the building. But like you said, Stephanie, if I didn't meditate, I felt like I'm not really gelling the way that I normally do. So thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else wants to share? Thank you guys for being brave to talk to the circle. Anybody else wants to share? All right, ladies, like I said, this has got to be maybe one of my best circles that I've had. Not to act like the other ones weren't great, they were, but I love this one. This is right up my alley. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Edna. Thank you to the amazing circle that came and supported today. And I guess I'll see you guys at the next circle. Lots of love, lots of high vibration, and have a great week. See you guys at the next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Much gratefulness.
Thank you, guys.
Much gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light, Stephanie. Thank you for joining.